While aviation is often criticised for its impact on the environment, there are many times when the opposite is true. Fighting fires in Australia, California or Italy, delivering vaccine in a global pandemic or basic medicines to remote villages in Africa. These are all part of aviation for good. And today we get to look at another fine example, oil spills. The UK's Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, known as MCA, is charged with a counter-pollution response and emergencies around the British waters 24 hours a day. It's tasked with minimising the impact on UK interests when pollution occurs, and one UK company, Agile Spray Response or ASR, has successfully been part of the team behind this service and is now spreading its wings, having been licensed to manufacture, market and sell Convert 400, a new cost-effective, future-proof airborne spray solution to reduce environmental damage caused by oil spills at sea. We're joined by Phil Cole, the CEO, and Richard Parks, the chairman of ASR, to tell us all about it. So Richard, if I could start with you. This could have global benefits, couldn't it?
Well, thank you, Alan, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss the Convert 400. Aerial spray dispersant has been around for a long time. The UK has been using various forms of this for over the last 30 years. In fact, it was used with the Sea Empress in 1996, which was the very unfortunate tanker accident in the port of Milford Haven. Aerial spray has always been recognised as a very useful tool in that response toolbox, but until now has only been a luxury available to some. So we're hoping that we can, now that any country or state that has a coastal environment or threat of potential oil spill pollution can have an opportunity to utilise the equipment and have a regional response.
So what has changed that makes this work? Is it the choice of the 737 aircraft?
The UK traditionally used Electras and DC-3s, which now tend to have velvet ropes around them more than have been in operational service. And so the project was started off as a replacement for those older systems. It was made more interesting by the fact that dispersant was declared to be flammable for flying purposes, and therefore a whole raft of additional requirements came into play, 9G test worthiness amongst others, which made it a very difficult, challenging project and took quite a long time to get through. But 737 freighters, very many of them around. They're the workhorse of one of the workhorses of the freight industry. We looked at the 737-400 as being the optimum balance for the amount of dispersant, 16,000 litres lift, along with availability of aircraft, cost, etc., and also for future proofing. The 737-800 is the natural successor, and I'm sure you know better than I believe there were more 737-800s manufactured than all the other variants put together. So I believe as they start flowing into the cargo market, there'll be a long and steady supply of these aircraft worldwide with the support infrastructure as well. So the aircraft have to be modified, as I told, to make them 9G crash worthy, amongst other things. So you take a standard freight aircraft, you put some fixed fittings in, and then you have a number of aircraft that are available for aerial spray when required. When the moment the day comes you want to use the system, it could be away flying freight in its normal business. It comes in, it'll take 3 hours to load all the equipment up into the aircraft, and then it can respond. And dependent, of course, there's no such thing as a standard oil spill, and where it's got to go, how far it's from dispersant stock, sort of all variables about how much you can do, how far you've got to fly offshore. But the advantage is it's a very responsive, cost-effective tool.
So Phil, can I ask, who is the target customer then for this? Would it be the operators, for example, the people who already run cargo firms, or would it be governments who would have to pay for the conversions made to make the freighters available for their national fleets?
I think one of the key features of the kit is we will work in partnership with an in-nation and in-region airline. So there will be in-nation and in-region control of the aircraft. As far as the organisation that, as it were, will be the end customer, it's those organisations, nations, governments that have responsibility over the coastlines and the maritime environment. but we work in nation, in region with an airline.
What is quite amazing is how quickly the freighter, once having had the structural changes made, can be converted into a tanker capable of dispersing even major oil spills. The other thing that is also impressive is the way the system, the conversion and the operation achieved certification. East Midlands Airport neighbour RVL has already converted two 737s, and the system has gone through extensive testing featuring both ground, sea and air trials with positive results. Each test is unique with consideration to weather and sea conditions. So, tests were carried out in two locations off the English south coast of Cornwall and the Firth of Clyde in Scotland, using the very first ro-ro conversion of the 737-400s. RVL's test showed success over a variety of dosage levels, allowing a range of oil types to be treated quickly, accurately and cost effectively. Phil, that whole test procedure looked pretty rigorous to prove it to the Coast Guard, let alone the regulatory approvals.
Yeah, so I think there were two aspects. The first bit was the aviation. So we have both FAA and EASA certification. And as Richard said, there was a change in the classification of dispersants to flammability. So they were flammable liquids. So we had to make some changes to that. But we're in a position now where we have both FAA and EASA, which gives us a wide scope globally to be able to fly the kit.
Well, of course, this is one of those things, a bit like insurance. You never want to use it, but you're mighty glad you know it's there when you do. Well, if you want more examples of aviation for good, or how the industry is helping the environment, go to our website, wearefin.com.